Hello, and a very good evening to all our viewers. Welcome to our association webinar with Sipher, the Strategic Institute of Public Health Education and Research. In recent years, there has been a rapid expansion of the vaping market, which has led many to question whether vaping can assist people in smoking cessation or if it in fact paves the way for new smokers. When it comes to vaping, health professionals and researchers tend to fall into one of the two camps. One that views it as a smoking cessation aid, and the other that perceives it as a risk for smoking initiation. Because of these opposing views, the public and especially smokers are unsure whether vaping is safe for smoking cessation. Despite the prevalent belief that tobacco is more harmful to the body, early research on vaping has already shown very detrimental effects, and the comprehensive effects may be much clearer in the years to come. To bust myths around e-cigarette cessation tools, we have with us today noted public health expert Dr. Rakesh Gupta. Dr. Rakesh Gupta is the former Director of Health Services, Punjab, and is presently the President and Director of the Strategic Institute for Public Health Education and Research, Sipher. He has won the election of the Tobacco Control Selection Committee as the Vice Chair and has a professional experience of more than 40 years in the field of tobacco control. He has served for more than 12 years in managing national non-communicable diseases, including key programs like blindness and tobacco control. He is also an alumnus of the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, Baltimore, and the University of California, San Francisco. He represented India during the WHO consultation held in Panama in the year 2016 and in Geneva in the year 2017, and is also a recipient of the prestigious WHO World No Tobacco Day Award. It's an honor to have you with us today, Dr. Gupta, as part of our 10-year celebration. You may please share your screen and begin the presentation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, all viewers. I'm Dr. Rakesh Gupta, President of Sipher. So it is a public health organization by the name of Strategic Institute for Public Health Education Research. So I'll be talking about myths associated with electronic cigarettes used as cessation devices. So what are the electronic cigarettes? An electronic cigarette that often called as e-cigarettes. They are battery-operated devices, and they are designed to look like a regular tobacco cigarette shaped device containing a nicotine-based liquid that is vaporized and inhaled, used to simulate the experience of the smoking tobacco. And in the term of scientific language, it is also called as Electronic Nicotine Delivery System, or ENDS. So at the one end, there is the LED light that lights up when the smoker draws on the cigarette. Then there's a battery, there's a microprocessor, there's a sensor which detects when the smoker takes a drag. Then there is a heater that vaporizes the nicotine, and then the nicotine liquid is there. So this is how it works. So these are the types of actually electronic cigarettes. Some may look like cigar lights, some may look like vape lights. Then there may be advanced tank system, then there are pod lights, and now there are even toy pods available. I'll show you the pictures. So, yeah. So 33 countries actually, they have worldwide, they have already banned electronic cigarettes. That includes India. E-cigarettes and similar electronic devices like HTP or the heated tobacco products. IQS is a famous brand by Philip Morris. They are protected in India under prohibition of Electronic Cigarette Act. So there's ban on production, manufacture, import, export, transport, sale, distribution, storage, and everything. But still, unfortunately, these are available online, offline. The government and government of India that needs to strictly enforce the law. There are some common myths. I'll be talking about the myths one by one. Electronic cigarettes are not associated with any harm, but the fact is that they are not harmless. They produce formaldehyde, tobacco-specific nitrosamines, nicotine, and even heavy metals. And there is, as a short-term side effect, there is elevated blood pressure, heart rate is increased, respiratory symptoms are there. And if we talk about the long-term health sequences, it is linked to the cell death, reduced pulmonary function, stiffness of the arteries, that is atherosclerosis, and increased risk of the cardiovascular diseases like tobacco and cigarettes. And there's also a chance of the metabolic syndrome. So metabolic syndrome is when there's diabetes and along with the, and it may be also related to the kidney diseases. The blood sugar level is high. Electronic cigarettes are 95% less harmful. That is the second one. A research paper was published in 2014, despite the authors of the paper noting that they lacked hard evidence to support the 95% statistic. It continues to be published and used in defense of e-cigarettes, and more than 7 years later. And unfortunately, many of our tobacco control stalwarts and secretaries also, they think that it is a very good paper and it is the electronic cigarette 195% safe, but it is not. Electronic cigarette products, they are available today, they are vastly different. So what they found in 2013 can be a little different than what than in 23. Most of the researchers who attended that meeting, that earlier meeting in 2013, where the statistic was created, were supporters of the electronic cigarettes, and some were funded by an organization that links to the tobacco industry. We simply cannot trust the words of the people with a vested interest. Then the third myth is that electronic cigarettes can help people quit smoking tobacco cigarettes. There's evidence to suggest that these electronic cigarettes, they significantly increase the smoker's urge to smoke tobacco cigarettes. They may be associated with cigarette smoking relapse. So there is a dual usage. Whenever the patient, the person has money, they may buy electronic cigarettes, and when they don't have money, they may buy e-cigarettes. Otherwise, they may buy those tobacco cigarettes. So these may serve to compromise the quit attempts, and there is an inconclusive evidence of the efficacy as quit smoking aids. Finally, any product that is considered therapeutic must be approved by FDA or the director, the Drug Controller General of India, right? So in other countries, there may be FDA, but here it is DCGI. We must not be persuaded by anecdotal reports of the individuals quitting smoking with the aid of electronic cigarettes, but there should be some hard facts and good studies related to it. To date, the assessment indicates that electronic use contributes to the more popular level harms than the benefits. So fourth myth is that adolescents who use electronic cigarettes, they don't smoke. So I've already told you that the use acts as a gateway to tobacco smoking. Electronic cigarette use is linked to the tobacco cigarette use among the adolescents and the young adults who have never smoked. Proponents of the electronic cigarettes often criticize this evidence, claiming that smoking rate in adolescents that is decreasing. Those who use electronic cigarettes and they take up the smoking were always going to smoke, but they just happened to start using electronic cigarettes earlier, maybe as kids or maybe adolescents. So these claims, like much of those made by the electronic cigarette advocates, they have been already debunked. Then the fifth myth is that the electronic cigarette industry that do not market to the children and the non-smokers. The tobacco and the electronic cigarette industry, they need a new population because the tobacco that kills 50% of its users, so they need a new population of individuals. New youth-oriented e-liquid flavors are being developed like bubblegum, popcorn, Red Bull, Fruit Loops, Skittles, Unicorn, etc. Unicorn milk. The industry also uses appealing e-liquid packaging, cartoons on labels or e-liquid boxes that resemble fruit juice cartons. And they develop e-cigarettes that resemble USB devices, that is pen drive. So the people think that our kids are very studious. Asthma inhalers, then they may mimic fans, remote controls, and hoodie drawstrings, thus promoting stealth e-cigarette use. The toy pods are being promoted in many of the countries. Toy pods available in Thailand and some other countries. These are the kind of the typhoids. And I may tell you that Thailand, like India, that has got very comprehensive ban on electronic cigarette, but still these are available online and offline also. So these are other. So you can just see that these are not meant to attract the adults, but these are meant to attract the kids. Then the sixth myth is that smoke-free world is the aim of promoting electronic cigarette use by tobacco industry. Leaked internal strategy documents from one of the biggest tobacco companies in the world, that is the Philip Morris International, that suggests otherwise. These documents state that to ensure its corporate survival into the future, PMI needs to achieve two primary objectives, that is shape public opinion and play the political game. As part of this guide, the electronic cigarette use of tobacco industries hijack behavioral science by funding independent research and burying conflicts of interest at the end of a report or article. Actually, PMI, that has got the smoke-free world, that foundation, they are attracting many scientists, many genuine tobacco control stalwarts. They are just attracting them with money. Financing independent research is a means by which industry promotes their own agenda. It legitimizes the activities and enhances their credibility. And there is a product diversification strategy to deliver new and upcoming nicotine delivery devices, especially those that have maximum appeal to the young people. And then there's a debate regarding the harm reduction. So if the electronic cigarette use and tobacco industry goal was to genuinely support smokers to quit and exit the market altogether, with no uptake by the non-smokers, both industries would cease to exist within the next few decades. Ultimately, the goal of electronic cigarette use tobacco industry is the maximization of the sales and profit, which is contradictory to their harm reduction mandate. So I have an article published, so in which it is mentioned that the term harm reduction was initially used in relation to reducing the harm from addictive drugs, but now the tobacco or the electronic cigarette is using the term to promote electronic cigarettes touted as cessation devices, as these are supposedly less harmful. Tobacco cessation does not mean addiction to another addictive substance present in the electronic cigarettes as nicotine in chemical form. Harm reduction generally means a reduction of harm at an individual as well as community level. So we need to consider the impact of an initiative on the whole population instead of a benefit to an individual. So a product that harms a community can't be called a harm reducing product. For instance, if a large number of people use tobacco products, continue to smoke rather than quitting, or continue to use and simultaneously, there's also not much evidence to prove that heat not burn products or the heated tobacco products, they are helpful in tobacco cessation. WHO recommends heated tobacco products should be treated and regulated as the tobacco products and are harmful to the users, minors, and adults, non-smokers, and potentially bystanders who are exposed to second-hand aerosol. So actually, most of the people, they think that it doesn't have any second-hand effect, second-hand smoke effect. But when an electronic cigarette is smoked, it also produces second-hand smoke. Because most electronic cigarettes, they contain nicotine, their use by youth can lead to addiction and can harm the developing adolescent brain, disrupting attention and learning. Also, nicotine in electronic cigarettes can have serious adverse effects in the development of the fetus by the mother during pregnancy. While nicotine itself is not a carcinogen, it may function as a tumor promoter and has a role in degeneration of nerve cells. So actually, the electronic cigarette proponents, they say that it doesn't cause cancer, but it is not so because it is a tumor promoter. In addition to nicotine, electronic cigarette aerosols can contain heavy metals, ultrafine particles which can get lodged in the lungs, and toxicants that may increase the risk of the cancer, pulmonary, and the cardiovascular disease. So to conclude, the public in general and the senior officials in government, they need to be sensitized about the fact that nicotine products, they need to, addicts, they need to quit the use of tobacco or the nicotine in all forms. And quitting does not mean replacing and addicting product and another with another nicotine product. So, and also may promote dual uses. So, since now the PICA 2019 Act is there, and we will just request all the government officials and all the stakeholders to implement the Act in letter and spirit and very forcefully. So there is a need for awareness about quitting all forms of nicotine, misnomer of harm reduction. Countries, they are now recognizing the alarming trend of a growing number of adolescents and the young adults succumbing to electronic cigarette use. Australia has taken a major step by banning electronic cigarettes in May 23. Rising usage of electronic cigarette is among there is a rising use of e-cigarettes among the teenagers, and alarming trends of increased electronic use and smoking among young Australians. And as you know, that the National Health Scheme in the UK, they are promoting use of the electronic cigarettes. They are already now suffering from that the problem of kids getting addicted to the nicotine because of use of the electronic cigarettes. And UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak took action in May 23 to clamp down on vaping, emphasizing that marketing and illegal use of vapes to children were unacceptable. So thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gupta, for that very enlightening presentation. We do have a couple of questions from the audience for you. The first question that we have is, do electronic cigarettes undermine existing anti-smoking measures?
Yeah, if you have been to Europe, you'll see that many people, they smoke electronic cigarettes where the smoke-free laws are applicable, like in even in on railway platforms, even at the airports, where you are not allowed to smoke. So that definitely undermines. Luckily, in India, it has been banned early, so that problem is not there in India, but in many other countries, that's there.
Right.
So it definitely undermines that smoke-free laws.
Thank you for your response, sir. The second question, while cigarettes, chewing tobacco, and related products continue to be legal in India, many people feel that selective banning of e-cigarettes seems to be an arbitrary exercise of executive authority. Your thoughts on this, please.
So I think we must congratulate the government of India for banning electronic cigarettes well in time. And before that, I may tell you that before 2019, 18 states, they had already banned electronic cigarettes under Drug and Cosmetic Act. Under Drug and Cosmetic Act, actually, nothing which is unapproved by DCGI, that is not allowed to be sold. Right? So electronic cigarettes, you see the nicotine products, they are only approved as nicotine tablets or nicotine lozenges, or it may be nicotine patches. But then the electronic cigarettes, they are not approved by the DCGI also. And another thing is that the tobacco, we are trying to regulate tobacco, maybe for 100 years. And we have CORPA 2003 Act, but we have not been able to regulate the tobacco. So it is good that when it is in a nascent stage, so it is good that we have banned electronic cigarettes.
Thank you for that answer, sir. The last question before we close the session for the day. As seen in the case of alcohol ban, total prohibition does not work in many countries. The total prohibition promotes underground dark economy for the sin goods. So how do we tackle this in the case of e-cigarettes?
So it is only the issue of this bogey of illicit products that is being raised by the tobacco industry or the electronic cigarette industry only. It is not actually, it is only the problem of the enforcement. So the act is already there. So the customs department, they have to enforce that it should not illegally come into India. And in fact, our director research intelligence, they have done a commendable job, especially in some states like Gujarat. So they have seized these products worth almost 78 crores. So it is really, they are doing a commendable job. So what we have to do is enforce the law very forcefully and very strictly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gupta, for sharing your views with us on this very crucial issue of e-cigarette use. I'm sure our audience members must have gained a lot of insights from your presentation. A big thank you to all our audience members for your participation in today's session. Please stay tuned for our next webinar at 9 p.m. on medical reconciliation, commitment to patient safety. Thank you and see you then. Thank you once again, Dr. Gupta.